Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to our senior season. Um, if we're going by SpongeBob seasons, we're just entering the best part of the podcast. Welcome to the season 4 premiere of Master Hand Games flagship podcast, Gloves Off. Your one-stop shop for all things Super Smash Brothers, and in this case, Super Smash Brothers non-news. That was a great transition. Anyway, I am Master Hand Games Koopa, as always, one of your fabulous hosts for this week, and joined as always to my bear to the big blue house, Mr. Chris X. What's up, buddy?
Do you remember what season the movie comes out for SpongeBob?
I think it's season 5.
Oh man, we're almost there.
We're almost getting there. We're almost at our movie season.
Anyways, not too much, man.
Yeah, I feel like I just saw you a few days ago.
It's because you did.
Keep that.
Yeah.
Shit, you're right.
Keep finding ourselves.
You know who else we saw a few days ago? The other guy that was kind enough to join us in the call this weekend. So one person that we spent, we all spent a good amount of time together this weekend, which is dope. Mr. Flashpoint Ajax, what's up, buddy?
If we're together in an event, that's where my majority of my time is going to be spent every single time.
Of that or whatever the alcohol is, or the food, early food.
Both, you are correct. I will not disagree with either one of those sentences.
You cannot dispute fact. It's just the way things be.
I've tried. It never works.
You just then the anime avatars start coming at you. But anyway, we have gathered the Triforce of awesome here for you guys today. So as you can see, we got a pretty healthy lineup of Smash stuff to go through this weekend. We obviously had a Battle for the East that happened, so that we've been talking about for months, and we'll get to the good and the bad that came out of that, because there's always that. So we have the Big House, which happened this weekend, which turned out to be a very, very good top 8, but there's still a couple of things that at least for my sake, raise concerns that we can talk about. And obviously, we're going to get into some third-party stuff. It's kind of a new thing I want to start working into the podcast, where we kind of take our tangents and just try to, give them purpose. And as you can see this week, we're going to talk about all the stuff coming out of Blizzard this week, because it's quite something. So, so let's start with, I think we should start with the thing that we were all at this weekend while it's still fresh in our minds. I don't know if
let's do it.
If you guys object to that, yeah, let's do it. So, starting with Battle for the East, a tournament that we streamed in conjunction with Self-Made Esports, the people that were running the event, held at the Showboat Casino in Atlantic City. The tournament ended. It was tournament top 8 Sunday. Saw some vintage New Jersey stuff where James kind of wrecked shit through losers and beat all of us, and it was quite a spectacle to see, indeed, because I said it during the interview, there hadn't been a GG's James in a while, and I was kind of starting to miss it, starting to get the crack itch.
It's been some time, man. This is the first time we've actually had a tournament that hasn't been in conjunction with I guess one of the known entities that run Smash events, whether it be like Collision or House or any of those, because we've had a lot of those, but nothing like that has just kind of been like an MHG sort of brain thingy, which not even that this was, but we got full control over the stream and stuff, and it was kind of nice because it felt very much like that, including James's win. Got a nice little fat paycheck at the end from the prize winnings, because the tournament did have $4,000 in the prize pot, and this tournament produced probably some of the greatest content to ever hit the channel. So from that end, it was pretty great.
This match was absolutely ridiculous. I have never seen a higher level Elite Smash match in my life. And it was also one of the best things that's ever happened in the history of watching Smash. I could not handle just the absolute ridiculousness of all the SDs and the double sacrifices for the sake of regaining pressure. It was absolutely hilarious.
For some reason, immediately my mind goes to when you say the highest level Elite Smash match of all time, my mind goes to the Dog Days of Summer on ESPN, where they're showing log splitting and professional darts on ESPN2 or something. Just there's no other sports to show, might as well show that stuff. But yeah, it was quite something, and it's really fun to see James kind of get fall into his own again, because like he obviously does really well at the national on the national side of things. Like he's one of the best players in the world for a reason.
Mhm.
But like because he has so many other duties back at home, whether it be to like his personal life or like not entering for the sake of TOing a tournament, like we don't really get to see like peak James. And it was a really really fun treat, just to be able to sit there and watch him just still kind of know that he can be broken against a lot of the better players in the state. And I'm glad that we got a front row seat to watch that together, AJ.
Oh, sorry. I just had a quick note. You kind of reminded me mentioning about how James hasn't entered in a while. It makes me think like you could count on one hand the amount of Smash 4 Smash 4 did I say, geez, I totally did not say Smash 4. Smash 4 tournament playlists where James was in, you could count on one hand the amount that he wasn't in. And for Ultimate, you could count on one hand the amount that he has been in. So yeah, this is like the first time we've like seen him, or like second time, third time.
Yeah, like you said, he's still like one of the best players in the world, regardless of the fact that he's just one of those people that even if you don't see him ranked on a PGR, like I've always pointed out, Matty G is one of those players that, regardless if you don't see him on a rank, know that he will sauce you at any given point in time. And James is at a higher degree. He's that consistent. I was really happy to see the Diddy come out too. Like normally you never hear that sentence out of my mouth ever. I've been on the receiving end of that before at a previous guitar. And my winners bracket came to a swift run, swift close because of that Diddy Kong. So, but it was nice to see implementation of a character that people don't necessarily think too highly of at the moment, even post buffs. And you know how I am when I see new things, I nerd out. So it was good to see the James of old, while also this bursty nonsense that James was speed running his way through bracket.
Yeah, like I agree with that. Sorry to cut you
No.
off there,
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say like just seeing like James have faith in like secondaries was really cool, because I know he was kind of like searching for one of those for a while. And I think what I found most interesting is that he even told me, he's like, yeah, like I wasn't sure how I like felt about Diddy until like this weekend, because he had like a really Diddy friendly bracket. And he even like went at Diddy like on the back foot against like someone like Ling Ling, like after he like would lose game one. And I think he lost game one to somebody else. I don't remember exactly who, because like once he got past Sinji, it was kind of like
I want to say it was in winners quarters ish area. It was Saturday night. I remember seeing his did he come through again?
Yeah, like Diddy Kong, like I still feel like the jury's out on Diddy, like, but I still think I think the character's like good enough to where like he's a good counter pick character. And it was fun to see like a lot of like old like Diddy's like shenanigans like still work. Like for Hangman said the best on Saturday, where like James's Diddy Kong is like the best Looney Tune character to like ever exist. And I find that just very appropriate. And it was like a pretty stacked top 8, like albeit the bracket was tiny. But like it was pretty top heavy in regards to like the talent that was there. There was the matches were a lot of fun to watch.
I think the way that he played it though, it's kind of harkens back to something we've pretty much said all the time throughout the weekend, is that this game is so young, and a lot of people forget that tempo control characters are still really good, because we have a lot of people who, albeit like some of them are pretty strong on defense, majority of the game has been reliant around burst options and then strong defense. Diddy kind of brings back that old trap you and remove a majority of your neutral game and make you focus on 1/3 stage control. And he was really optimizing that. So even though the character may not have like as good a toolkit as the previous games, I don't think the character has a lot to grow after what I've seen out of Elvin and company too. But it brings another playstyle into the game that people like say Sinji have been capitalizing on really well.
Yeah, I agree, like 100%. Also, like I feel like I've always died on the hill that like banana is the most broken item in Smash history.
Yes,
like that. I
will be with you on that hill.
Yeah, like banana is absolutely busted. That's why, like for years, I thought even after the fact that Diddy was like probably still the best character in Smash 4, because like, what are you gonna do when Diddy's doing the Schwapple where he just sits in shield with the banana in his hand? God, come back, Adam. We miss you, wherever you may be. But yeah, it was really, it was just really cool to see James do so well, and obviously the rest of the tournament was super fun to watch. Leon getting third. Felt bad watching Juice get 6-0'd and hand shook. Like that that was definitely not pretty.
You could just see a little bit of his soul dying each game that was taken.
Yeah, you hate to see it, man.
You actually
Then,
really do,
Yeah.
because Juice honestly had an amazing tournament outside of that. Like he had some like kind of mollywops and other people where he was just kind of dominating the match. Then James just sort of kind of had his number. But this is a thing now that we've seen between those two guys in particular. And I think you mentioned this, Koopa, on commentary, where Juice has beaten James on several occasions before, whether it be in 4, and I think he's beaten him in this game too. And yeah, I remember James has been on the opposite end of that, where I think he's been like, whether it be reverse 3-0'd or something by his like zero suit. So, pretty healthy rivalry type stuff for the
Yeah,
area.
when you got that much money on the line too, it definitely doesn't help. Like you're already annoyed that you're going down to somebody you've been losing to, plus the difference of a couple $1,000s. Like that definitely doesn't help the mindset either.
Yeah, that's not great. But the cool part is, I mean, part of the whole atmosphere of having like a bracket that has about 100 men and everyone kind of knowing each other is as sour as it tastes. Like the event was overall pretty fun. Like, I don't know, all the homies were there. People were kind of just hanging, comfortable crowd.
yeah, it was cozy. Like it was as cozy as Atlantic City could be. It'd be like if you got cozy in your parents' liquor cabinet, but like it was like still pretty cozy. Like I always, and because we talked about this a lot last week, where like we got on the subject of how a tournament locale could like potentially like make or break the experience for you. Like, and we kind of went on the hill that like Atlantic City has kind of lost its shine over the years, and like if we're gonna get into like the downsides of things, I'm not a fan of the Showboat. I've like always said this, like the Showboat is great for Atlantic City if you're looking for a cheap hotel to stay in for the weekend, because like the location's fine because it's like right on the boardwalk. You're right within like shitting distance of the Hard Rock, which is like a legendary chain of casinos, which was fun. But like I just thought like I don't know, like I feel like the benefit of having a tournament in Atlantic City is that 9 out of every 10 like hotels you stay in are also going to have that casino. They're going to have that drawing factor. They're going to have the Evo factor, where like you can get hammered, like lose in tournament, get hammered again, gamble, and then crawl into your bed without having to worry about much anything else. And like the Showboat is already like kind of like a vacant like spot, because I think the casino closed in like 2015 or something.
Yeah, not that
like,
long ago, but yeah, years ago.
Yeah, they closed it and then they reopened it again. And so like that, where the casinos and tables used to be, it's completely empty. Except this weekend we couldn't even see that because they were filming a movie there or something, which was
it was just covered all in like curtains. And the interesting thing, and I'm trying to remember if we talked about this last week or I was just talking to someone about this, but the guy who basically bought the Showboat once it like went under, I guess, and the casinos closed and everything, initially bought it to try and make it like a gaming resort type thing. And this happened, yeah, probably about 2015 or 2016, because I remember that was when Royal Flush happens, because I got like the tour when it was like freshly like bought. And I guess it just didn't pan out, and it was for a lot of the reasons you just said. Like, it's just a hotel. There's nothing else in there. Like, there's barely even like restaurants and stuff. So it's kind of like Atlantic City in general is kind of a ghost town, let alone like this specific hotel. It's very strange to see, because you see all these massive buildings and all this nice like stuff, but you're like, what do you do with it? Because there's just like no one in it.
You know what like sucks is that like nobody's like, even Royal Flush I think was in like May or something like that. Like it was like earlier in the year than like before the beach crowd shows up, and like this tournament was obviously in like October, so like the weather was okay, but like I feel like you're not taking advantage of Atlantic City if like you're not hosting tournaments like when you could actually like go to the beach and stuff like that. Like obviously I know the summer's like hard to like schedule around for tournaments and stuff, but like I don't know. That's just me. I'm just not a huge fan of the Showboat because it's definitely a shell of what it used to be. The Hard Rock was dope though. Just saying.
That was my first time at that, so like I went in there with a blank slate, but kind of to somebody who hasn't been there, having the Hard Rock next door definitely helped, because I was like, oh, I could walk over to casino because it's right there.
That's the real attraction, yeah.
Yeah, like that. It's like I am here to go over here. So
I want to point this out, Chris. You know that me, and Mezzy like took the longest way possible to go into the hotel on Friday, but like we could have easily just gone out the boardwalk and gotten there like way quicker.
I learned that the Saturday night.
I was just like, wow, we're idiots.
Yeah,
I actually found that out when I went over to the Showboat and I looked outside. I was like, oh, there's a boardwalk there.
Yeah, it's actually super close.
Like I could have just I could have just walked outside.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
we like walked. We like walked around and like,
it was
God,
like cold and stuff. It was
a bad idea, real bad idea.
So what?
Dinner was dope though. Just want to bring that up.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like casinos and stuff like that, there's always like amazing restaurants. They're just, albeit a little expensive, but that's kind of the area. Which makes me wonder how the whole city stays afloat. But that's a whole different discussion, really.
That's another podcast.
Yeah, that's more than a podcast, man. I have no idea what that is. That's like a lot of politics involved in that. But yeah, it's still there. Very much.
Like besides the hotel though, and the obvious like downsides here and there of the Atlantic City, it wasn't too bad. Like the if you went out of there, the food was pretty good, but like all in all, that was okay. The venue itself was pretty spacious. I was pretty surprised by the quality that they had in terms of their very first event. Like I did not know what we were walking into prior, and I will say I was pretty impressed by the amount of money that was spent on like the equipment and all that. So that was pretty cool, especially like the Apex setup over on the other side.
Yeah,
I'm just to be totally transparent, I did not go in that room all weekend and I feel bad about it.
Look, it looked really good.
Yeah, there's this nice little video actually put together by Smash Studios. Shout out to PB&J, who's also there, documenting some stuff. So this is kind of like what it looked like, and there was an array of fighting games. It was an FGC tournament, and no secrets. And if you didn't know, cat's out of the bag. There wasn't a huge turnout for this event. Smash was the biggest event, and I don't think that was the plan for it. And a lot of that has to do with the stuff we were just talking about just now, location, all that kind of thing. But the actual facility is nice. Like this hotel used to be like in its glory, man. Like. Used to have like a House of Blues, like you would have like all kinds of like really
legendary.
famous people
like,
in there.
My parents would tell me like stories of like how the Showboat was like the place to go like back in the day. But like as the demographic changed and the city changed, so did the Showboat. Because like obviously like I was also just kind of like looking at the crowd of like the Hard Rock even itself. Like there's a real like old crowd of people that go to the like specifically the Hard Rock, like that crowd looked very, very old, but it's Atlantic City, so
that whole demographic is more niche than what you would think the gaming demographic is. Where I don't even think I'd call the gaming demographic like niche anymore. It's just like the way
we're getting close to the majority now.
Absolutely,
we're taking over.
But yeah, so I mean, the facility was definitely nice. I'll be interested to see if they, if this happens again next year. I kind of think it will, but we'll see how it goes.
I hope it does.
I kind of do too. I'll be honest with you. Like all in all, aside from like the kind of the weird, there was some weird stuff with like the way they ran the pools.
The Legend Chris Matrix.
Yeah.
So, I'm not gonna lie. I very much nerded out when like that happened. I was like, oh my god, I get to work at Chris Matrix.
Why did he keep running? Well, every time I went over there, you were by yourself. What kept happening?
Oh, he had to set up for the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 $12,000 money match because what the fuck? There's a $12,000 money match.
Imagine being able to throw away $6,000 on a video game.
Part of it I found out was Matcherino sponsored because players love that stuff, and I'm a big fan of like that type of heat going on because I grew
matches.
Yeah, I grew in the FGC, so like money matches and a good amount of talk were the thing. But like just the fact, like who the hell, like you said, who the hell has that much money to throw around like that? That's like
not me.
Well, that's traditionally what AC is made for, man. You got some bulk money, you want to throw it around, you would gamble, and then this is like new age gambling. This was that's like the whole idea of the tournament. So
fair enough. Yeah, actually, there's that money match going on right there. That
me and Frank won like $300 combined in a slot machine this weekend. By the way,
nice.
Yeah, man. Everyone coming up on the positive, or not everyone, but a lot of us, which is
I don't really
nice.
I don't really gamble, so like I didn't bother to do that. I watched other people. I'm not a big fan.
Terrible.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's bad, but yeah. So I guess we can kind of like get into like we Chris just mentioned that we hope this event happens next year because like you hate like. There is a lot of promise here, and like I do want to like give my props to like the self-made esports guys because like
they tried,
I've been to worse like first iterations of tournaments.
Absolutely.
Yes. While we're still here though on this, like I know they're very interactive, and I'm sure that they'll probably even take the time to listen to this because it has this attached to it. So The next season, like I definitely plan to go, but I know that there is a good amount of people who I went with who pretty much on the probably not going to, purely because of a couple flaws like the double Jeopardy, which I think will probably get adjusted hopefully next season. That was one thing, but just the overall lack of like communication. I think that going into the next season, as long as they focus on that, because like you said, it was brand new, and going into things brand new, you don't know who to trust. I can get that. I understand that, which is why I think part of it happened the way it was, but a greater team in terms of early communication, early solidified thoughts on how things are going to go and how things must go, and who is the one that says the buck stops here. That can definitely help a lot as next season.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there was a lot of just like I think the biggest issue was, within the communication issue that you mentioned was I just think a lot of things were kind of held close to the chest. And I think part of that is the stress of like putting together something that has a lot of money involved in a place like these guys don't live in New Jersey. They live, I think, more West
Yeah,
Coast.
they're in California, I think.
Yeah,
Pretty sure LA.
something like that. So it's like there's just a lot of things, and yeah, it's just like I think. It does come along the lines with like seeing how people work and knowing you could trust with that. But I think that's the biggest advice is kind of have faith in some of the entities that already exist and kind of let them do the heavy lifting. Because if we were on the Smash bracket, just some of the things that were the biggest complaints, like the way like there was so many pools for the amount of people and having it stretch off across 2 days when with the bracket amount of people, like it could have ran in one. Like all those things could have been like basically addressed or have contingency plans, but it's hard to really know that like if it's a first event. So I think if anything, this is kind of like a pilot sort of. You learn a lot, and as many people might not come again next year. I think there's that many more people that might be interested with the proper adjustments. So I don't know.
Ooh, actually, and to speak on this, I know I kind of want to jump right into Big House a bit from this point here too. There is, even though as many flaws as there was a pop bonus.
Yes.
And that is quite the topic right now. And I'm sure after everybody saw with a lot of the complaining going on, it was the Gons himself going and pointing out that Rivers went and won $2,500 for going to this event. So money definitely draws people, and I'm sure that the whole ranking system definitely got people when it wanted to go to Big House, and obviously the prestige, and definitely shouldn't go scheduling on the same weekend as that. But I think next season, with the fact that they'll probably be more wary to avoid that, and I'm sure with all the sponsors they have, that the pop bonus will probably come back again. I think it could definitely move into that next season,
So
particularly because people want that money.
I'm so happy you brought that up. I have the tweet open right now, and if you're watching this and not just listening, you can actually look for yourself. James made actually $2,500. First place, there was a $4,000 pop bonus. I think 105 entrants, and as you can see, the Smashboard stats where it breaks down what the people from Big House made. There was 1,017 players, so $10,000 pot, and second place made less than what James won for winning first place. At Battle for the East. So it's like you think about the time it takes just to travel to the event and then the entry fees and feeding yourself for the weekend. You're lucky if you're breaking even if you finish at the top, like, basically under 1%, like percentile. Like you're.
Speaking on that, not to cut in ahead of the coop again, but I personally took a little note that I decided to put in my phone. It's like, all right, let me see if I could pay attention to this. Of every single person who complained about the additional fee, who I know actively overspend when they go to get food, when we go out of these things. So I'm gonna keep track of these same people when we go to places like at some of these venues where they complain about this stuff, and then also point out to them as they order their second helping of steak or Korean barbecue, say, interesting. You had an extra 30 some odd dollars to do this, but you didn't have an extra 10 to throw towards the pot that you so heavily want to get solved. Like, I get that there are people who have differences of opinions, but we're dropping like $300 to go to these events sometimes at minimum. Not if you have a group of people between multiple rooms, flights, and all the other stuff, if not including Uber fees and such, if you're not walking. So I know there's many different things like Nintendo helping, but we could also help ourselves in those regards. And that right there is just ridiculous to me.
Are you talking about personal accountability? I don't know about that, man.
I, I
I don't know
I'm
if I'm ready
sorry.
for that.
I'm sorry. Like, did I speak too soon? I've been on a bit of a tirade with that lately.
Yeah.
I'm getting so like
Our age is showing.
I just want people to improve and
Yeah.
I want people to like grow. But when I see just everybody's gotten, the end all be all solutions for these things and they happen to be just adding to the problem, it's like, well, maybe you should look at it this way. They're like, oh no way, that's too much. The TO should take a hit for here and there. I'm like, all right, your opinion's invalidated. Nice, cool, have a good one.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get to like the big stuff about Big House, but I just want to finish up my thoughts here. I pretty much echo the same sentiments as you guys. Like, my big thing is communication. Like, when the communication is poor, everything else just kind of falls apart. And like, there's just multiple times throughout the weekend where like we assume that the top 8 commentators that were gonna like be doing top 8, which is what I was told like a week before the event. Like, I didn't know they weren't like in the building until Saturday night. Like, as did you. So like, there was just a lot of like,
Well,
like just the ball dropped on a lot of fronts in regards to communication. It's like,
yeah, speaking specifically to that one, like I found out that I was actually doing that the day before at night, and it was gonna be with the Fortnite guy, and Koopa turned into Fortnite guy, and now we're sponsored by Epic. We're in a great spot now.
yeah, I found out I was doing top 8 when I woke up from a hungover stupor on the floor.
I just dropped the water bottle next to you.
Yeah.
I was like, he's gonna need this.
I just woke up like hungover, drunk, with my sweatshirt on inside out on the floor.
I had no idea Chris had even talked to him yet too, because I had that night before I kept saying, I was like, you know what? Nothing but respect to Trihex, but I always had to point out this one in particular just because it's what happened. I genuinely enjoy Trihex's content, but he was actively improved, not prepared for that top 8 that he did. And they had to pull in a caster off the side, being HBox, to fill in that position for that early on. And it's just the fact that like, if we're gonna grow and be taken seriously in terms of like content creation, especially in the eyes of Nintendo, if we want to get Nintendo money, we got to show that we're putting our best foot forward always. And if we're not putting it to the people who have been actively traveling to grow in the industry as casters, we're gonna have a problem. I would never ask to do top 8 at a super national in fighters ahead of like somebody else who's done it more than me, because I know that they've earned that and I need to prove that I've earned it. That's just the way I see it.
You gotta work to show your worth. Like, that's just common life stuff. But yeah, I agree. Like, whatever the circumstances were, like, I'm never gonna get mad at somebody for taking a job. So
yeah, no,
it be what it be.
Yeah,
and it worked out for everybody in the end anyway.
Yeah, so. And to clarify, like, I have no disrespect towards Spaceman at all. It's not like he chose that, and I'm sure that people could have looked at me in the same regard when they saw me on top 8 for fighters. But I've also done that in the past, so I kind of had like a little bit of backing to it, and I proved my worth while I was on there. But it's just everybody looking for a new outlet to do. I think just with the fact that me and you, like me being hired months ago, finding out about that just the night before, I talked to the staff saying we got to work on this in the future. And I went specifically to ask for you. It was like, I want Koopa on top 8. Like, this is how we need to do this. And then I found out, oh yeah, well, Chris also told us the same thing, so we're definitely going to do that. Like, oh, okay, that works.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me back to life, Chris.
Yeah, well, of course, and that's the thing is, I think they were kind of figuring out how that as newer organizers, how that stuff works during the event, like just kind of following the flow of things versus kind of have an idea of like, okay, well, we have this caster and it might be good to get him experience here and yada 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 yada. Like, there's just some things where you invest so much in a tournament where you want to follow through with the right pieces, because I got to tell you, man, I'm just so happy with how like all of the VODs came out, from everything from gameplay to casting. Just presentation, everything was just hitting, and like this is easily the best I've felt about like a playlist on MHG to date. So like I'm pretty grateful for that as a closing thought.
Yeah. So my wish for next year is just like, keep like just the communication just needs to be a little bit better. Like,
definitely
if they let us police like what we know and they can just provide the sponsorships and like a pot for people
That
to show
is
up on.
literally it, man. And
Yeah,
and I
and also
yep. Go ahead.
yeah, just like be hands off. That's the thing. Like it was, for what it was a good time. It was a shame to see a lot of the anime entrants get like, a lot of the other events in general just get lower entrants, but like everything else is still fun to watch and things ran on time for the most part. Like I didn't hear any complaints about like any like major complaints about like scheduling, except for the fact Koff Leon was an hour late to his pool because he went skydiving. But we're not going to talk about that.
We don't have to talk.
What?
You didn't? Okay, yeah. So Leon was super late. We kept him in bracket for a lot of reasons, and it turns out he was skydiving.
Oh my god.
One more thing about the death pools. I just think this is kind of a funny. Just
that is a be
I'm sorry. Well,
Oh, yeah.
not the death pools. Before we get to the death pools, but that is one thing. So about like the double Jeopardy kind of thing, where you would see like two players play like in winner semis and then again in losers finals. I think it's funny. It's almost like a choose your own ending book when you watch the tournament replays because you get to see like the same set literally over but with a different ending. Because like the T set, T versus Kiwi was literally like the same exact set, but just a different end view of like who was sad with their head down, who was like yes.
You mean Ram versus Kiwi?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
you're getting your Pac-Man players mixed up.
Yeah. Jeez.
That actually happened to 3 Connecticut players. That's actually no, not 3 Connecticut. 2 of the Connecticut players
That's why they're
and
not coming back.
And then 1 Mass player. That's why they were like relatively upset about what was going on. But I told them, I was like, hey, this will be worked on. It was the first time, and like you said, I have been to comically like worse stuff. Like this one, it still ran smooth. Like you said, the VODs were great. The entertainment value was there. People got into it. We got to watch Corona win a lot of money by entering a couple things. So that was
so dope,
cool.
Man.
Like there was definitely a lot of positives that came from the weekend, as well as being able to spend all the time with you guys. Like that's always a great thing too. So it worked. It'll be improved on. The main thing is that once you have one of these, can you fix it the next year?
You got to break some eggs and make an omelet, and like
exactly.
hopefully the guys aren't like discouraged from doing so, and hopefully they just like listen. If this happens again to them, like hopefully just like just acknowledge the feedback and like well, like just let us police our own stuff, and then you just do like the
get the prize pools, get the sponsors. As far as like the good stuff goes, we got the good stuff.
The word from the captain's mouth. The word from the captain's mouth from SM actually said that everybody, including sponsors, were very generally pleased. Mostly because even though some of the numbers have been down, that the fact that it ran smooth, people came out and it got the attention of not just like the FG community, but like the Apex community and Fortnite community as well. So that they seemed very pleased. I'm sure that there was a couple things here and there, but they were genuinely pleased with their first time out, and I think that they'll improve on it for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And just please don't schedule on the same weekend as another tournament. Because I heard through the grapevine /PB&J that like there was mad people that were like interested in coming to the tournament, but it was A, on the same day as Big House, and B, and B, like they just didn't know about it.
So I could say right off the bat that Light would have been there if it weren't for Big House.
So aside from Big House too, I think the details coming out about the tournament so late is what deterred them, because I think some people would have even come over Big House enough to have been okay, but like just the details about tournament as far as schedule and just how things were going to be run just came out so last minute, where everyone was just kind of like, I need to go to something that I know is, has like 8 previous versions, and I already kind of have an idea of how it's going to run. So it's stuff like that. Being a little bit more transparent and putting the information out there early is essentially the biggest thing in my mind.
Yeah, kind of like the biggest house.
The biggest house.
Yeah.
So the
It's
biggest
like-
house had a little bit of struggles too, though. To be fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of having multiple iterations and things that should be worked on that weren't worked on, a very big thing across the weekend was that temperature in that venue being talked about regularly. I know that TOs can't be in control of that, but apparently that's been a very recurring issue there.
Yeah. Before we get into like the logistical things, like I do want to touch on the actual tournament, because that was obviously the biggest story going into the weekend. Definitely not as big as a story coming out of it for like the reasons we just alluded to. So we can start by saying that Zac Grey won his big dance. So Good on him.
Yep, finally. As much as I want to see Light win his first big dance, you can like the kid has put in so much work, literally maining the entire cast of the game. Like it's actually insane to see the skill level that he has at this at what, like 15 or 16 or something like that.
He's 16.
16 years old and can counterpick people left and right. We all called it early that this was going to be a counterpick meta game, and he is just showing exactly why. That's how many people could pull off like the character play that he can across that many characters, but it's just so impressive to see and see that he finally won it over what is really the eternal gatekeeper and the Buzz at that.
Yeah, it's so fitting that he ends up taking down the Buzzing Grands just so he could pop off on him. Using like, and the funny part is too is like the counter picks. Like, you say he's 15?
16.
16. He is using 16-year-old characters, man. Like the characters he has, like they're so so degen. It's crazy, but like he makes them work, and he is insanely good. And he's been a player who's definitely like kind of had a rough few months. Or not few, but like couple months where like he kind of got off to a fast start, but it kind of comes right back and just in time to get that summit bid too.
Yeah, so like just like a brief history on Zac Grey in case you're like unfamiliar. Going into the beginning of the year, Zac Grey was like he was basically looked at as like this force like coming out of like Japan. Like everyone's just like, yeah, like X player's good, but like Zac Grey is like low key like one of the best players like in. Like he's probably the best player at the time. He was probably the best player in Japan, and like one of the best players in the world. He still is. But like things have the meta has shifted. Yeah, he came into that Genesis. It was his first time in the States. He got in 5th place, losing to the Buzz actually, which is quite fitting. Because that's when we were like, this kid's destined for greatness. Because like the Buzz is obviously the ultimate gatekeeper. Once you prove you can, once you can prove you can beat the Buzz, you can beat almost anybody. And then he kind of had like he was obviously like looked at as like the Wolf God, and then he started playing other characters. Like he played a lot of Wario, and then he was having these like mediocre-ish results. Like I know at Frostbite he got like 33rd or something. He had like some like really crappy placement, so he kind of had a come to Jesus moment where he came like back down to earth and had like consistently good placings, like a lot of top 8s and stuff like that. And yeah, came out in full force, the Wolf and friends, because I think in top 8 alone he played like 6 different characters or something.
He played Corrin, Sonic, Wolf, Rob. I don't think the Game & Watch came out in top 8.
2 Game & Watches in top 8, by the way.
What fucking planet
just real quick, I just want to say that.
Well, I don't think he actually pulled the Game & Watch out in top 8. He did use it though.
Yeah,
he got there with them though. Yeah.
Yes, he like went all the way there with them. Like that's insane.
And I thought what was super interesting is that like the top 3 of the tournament were all people that were yes, and Joker. Poor Nairo, man. You hate to see it happen. But yeah, like I think what was really cool is that like the top 3 were all people that were vying for summit bids. And
yes,
I actually didn't know that, like, because we talked about it on the podcast last week, and Has said that like the 2 people he was on looking out for was the Buzz and Meister.
I think
that Buzz and Meister were winners finals.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Meister's good.
Yeah, like it feels so bad because like I didn't know that there were 2 summit spots up for bid here. Like I only thought it was the 1, but it turns out it was top 2 placers.
Yep, I think 1 left this weekend.
Yeah, the last chance qualifiers in next week at Nightmare in Smashville. So let's go Jackal. And James and all of my friends.
Yeah, how about Fang actually kind of proving that summit, basically getting a vote in the summit wasn't just like a thing.
I'm sad that one of the people that had to go down was Light in the midst of showing people off on that, but I am a big fan of Redemption because this man has completely proven if like Mr. R said it himself, he always tends to lose to the people who come out to be gods. And it's happened multiple times with MKLeo and Arfang, and he's doing it still with Pichu, is showing everybody that the Roach was not a mistake. It was a mistake. but the Roach proved to be worth the buy, and that this kid is going to put in work. Also, to touch on what you guys were pointing out with Zac Grey at the beginning of the game there, I am so happy to see that this game really pushes people to level up in a way that we haven't seen in years. Because much like in baseball and company, everybody hits a slump. And I think in the last game that it was so easy. Well, not so easy. It was much easier to be consistent by the game's mechanics. But in this one, the way that things have really changed, you can't really pull that off. Like it's like the character meta is so broad that we have so many different characters that are doing it well, and like the people at the top really earn it every time. Just the fact that Zac Grey was so dominant at the beginning of the game, and then comes into this part and finally wins not a weekly, my god, a major.
Imagine winning your first national before your first weekly, bro.
That'd be. I would actually just retire.
Yeah, but like I agree. Like the meta definitely like caught up with him a bit, and to the point where he even said like out loud he dropped Wolf. So he was playing like a lot of like Rob and Joker, and he actually used Rob in the clinching game. God, the character's a fuck.
He's toxic, dude.
Yeah, he's
Rob's toxic.
I love Gyromite. But yeah, it was super fun to watch, and I also want to touch on the Fang thing. Very rarely do you see like the pre-summit flex.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's usually like you grind, you get the experience, and the post-summit you come out a new man. It's like the hyperbolic time chamber. Like it's exactly what it is. But like Fang popping off like pre, and that was busted. Like it was super cool to watch.
Like not pre, but it's happened a couple times now between a few games where like Light when he went to the boot camp, beat a bunch of people. What was it? The DBZ summit. Everybody was wondering how Hook Kangong was gonna do because he's been doing well. Goes in, beats Goichi and Sonic Fox, and then Arfang pre the tournament. It's like, nah, hold up, let me go ahead and put this work in real quick. It gets top 8 at Big House and S tier with so many talented competitors and taking out top 10 player amongst many other targets along the way, finally running into Sam Sora, who's just a rat slayer. Like that is really something to not be upset about. That was extremely impressive.
Yeah, it was dope. And obviously the rest of the top 8 filling out suit with Arfang and Shuton getting 7th place. Tweak, I believe, getting 5th place, tied with who am I missing? Who else got 5th place?
I just closed it. I'll get it back. Okay, it's back. It's back. Tweak and Samsora got 5th place, and then Shuton Fang, 7th. You got it.
And then Nairo getting 4th, losing a heartbreaker to Zac Grey, because like I truly feel like this could just be my bias coming out. If Nairo beats Zac Grey, I think he like goes on to win the tournament, because I feel like he was gonna do some hood rat shit on the Buzz.
I actually
agree. Gonna see like the Pocket Wolves coming out twice and working, like
honestly,
and Nairo respectively. That's dope.
Honestly, I don't think that your call is bad there. Like I think if Nairo got through Zac Grey on that, his momentum carrying over, especially with how well he played at main stage, I would not have been surprised whatsoever to see him win that.
Yeah, dude, Tweak and Nairo making sure everyone knows they're from New Jersey by pulling out their Pocket Wolves.
It really do be like that. But yeah, that was like super dope to watch, and obviously good on Zac Grey once again. You hate to see it for the Buzz, man, because like the Buzz has definitely been on like, he even said it himself. He's like, I was kind of in like a shit situation where like Rosalina sucks and like nobody has better Olimar experience in the world than Zac Grey. So like he was kind of a shit creek without a paddle, and he was just kind of forced, he ran into the worst person. Also, we can't go without talking about Meister, because like Meister needed to pop off to get the summit bid, and he did, but 2 other people popped off harder than he did, and like that's why like you hate to see it happen, because like he's definitely like pinned himself as like a top 20 player in the world. Like Game and Watch is sin. That character is disgusting. It is not okay. It's not kosher. Happy Yom Kippur to all my friends that celebrate it. To all of our listeners that celebrate it. But like, he's a stud, man. He's been playing this character since the character was trash buckets. Like I am a huge fan, and I hope that he continues to like perform well. And maybe, I don't know if he's going to Nightmare in Smashville, but if he is, whew.
I'm sure hope he is at this point. Like, definitely one of my not preseason. I guess you can still say preseason. At the end of the last PGR, he was one of my early calls saying calling now he's going to be a top 15 to 20, like 20 to 15 player, if not earlier. And he even started off the season with that third place over at the A tier with Smash Factor. So like he's been consistent through and through. If you look at his placings overall, I think he only has like 2 that are not within like 13th or higher at the A tiers or higher throughout the season. So doing it with Game & Watch, who everybody wrote off as ass at the beginning, and as usual, when the game's new, don't call a character ass until like a year in, unless it's K. Rool, because you really don't know, or Kirby, who happened to be beating up right now. You really don't know what you're running into early on with most of these characters, especially with 80. My God,
Soon to be.
yeah, we're right around the corner from that, and more on the way. But yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say something irrelevant. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like it was definitely a crazy top 8. There was a lot of upsets actually too, and I guess we can kind of start transitioning into like sort of the negative sides of Big House, because a lot of top players were very vocal about what they did not like about this tournament. And I guess I'll start with the biggest one, is that there was a gas leak on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Almost shut down the whole tournament.
Yeah, see, that one apparently was like a city issue, which is still a problem because that then falls on the venue and company. Like that's big. No. Like I got shades of Apex 2015. I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
When the roof caved in, obviously much worse situation, but that is not a good way to get people to be recurring to come back.
Yeah, especially like again, one of those tournaments. It's advertised as an S tier, so everyone's gonna be there and don't want to miss it. And then you have that gas leak, which is really no one's fault or control, but it's definitely still happened and definitely almost sent everybody home. And then you have prize pools that really don't get anyone out of the red of the travel outside of like 3rd place. So like there is some pretty big topics, and honestly, those are things that need to continue to keep coming up, despite the tournament, despite anything else, because there is definitely a big issue with how the scene currently runs as far as like the nitty gritty, like, you know, how does this make financial sense? People kind of want to throw money into it, be involved, but there's a lot of like things that are not like sustainable still.
Yeah, and I also think the biggest thing that came out was like the venue temperature was another hot topic, and like I don't know how you guys feel about it, but like it's like I said this jokingly over the weekend, but like we shouldn't be allowed to like hold majors in the West in the months that like aren't warm, because like the Midwest is already cold enough as it is. But like yeah, I don't know, like that needs to be something that needs to be like discussed like a lot going into these events, because I notice it a lot too. Like I don't tend to get cold very often. Like I'm a larger man, so I tend to sweat through the small stuff and the big stuff quite literally. So like I don't usually feel it that often, but there's like a couple events I went to this year. I'm just like, my God, like can we please turn the heat up? Like I'm suffering out here.
Yeah,
I like
and that makes a big deal in like players. Like a lot of players I noticed for like, you know, they were DQing from losers and stuff like that. They're like, you know, a lot of players weren't feeling it. I feel a certain way about that too. But like it's a shame. Like I know some people were kind of getting on the top players for like, you know, y'all like people pay money to come see you and you're all like dropping out. But like it's real stuff, man. Like if you're playing with cold hands sucks.
Yeah, especially like if you're mostly just kind of traveling at a point where you might not, like, you know what I mean? Like people, there's some degree of like, well, I need to win, and there's rankings on the line and money on the line, but like especially when there's already an issue with like, well, are the rankings going to continue to be legit, and like, is the money I'm going to win from this tournament worth it? Like, yeah, you're definitely dropping out if your hands are feeling crap. Like, but the one thing I did want to mention is I guess Toon Link top 5, right?
Yeah.
I actually just finished watching this prior to getting on here because I realized I hadn't seen this one yet.
Yeah, it was quite something, and I do want to give like I'm glad that like we can finally like move past this. Like I want to like you know, like, Justin was the adult in the room. He's like, listen, I said some fucked up stuff. Can we please just put this behind us? And like, you know, after he whacks his ass, after he whacks him with fucking Toon Link. I hate
dude.
Yeah,
that is so baller to me. I think that's so cool. That's like such like good character development, man. That's
yeah,
like,
and now Justin's playing Ice Climbers, so
yeah, like all right, you got it.
Whatever, do you,
Yeah,
man? But yeah, like You go, AJ. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was like that's indicative of good character. Like, I've said many times over, as irrelevant as I am in the general spectrum of the scene, I don't normally get too heavily involved with a lot of things on Twitter because I realize that it's an endless loop of people arguing the same topics. That was so dumb, by the way. That was no, but like I don't usually get involved in a lot of things, but one thing I do generally get involved in is when you see people who are growing make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We're human.
Sure.
This is the way things work. And in a generation of social media, there's a lot of people who will see these opportunities and either say a very valid point in, this was wrong. This was this was like not good for people overall, and you're saying very negative things about people. Yes, true. But give someone a chance to learn. If you don't give someone a chance to learn, how are we ever going to get people to stop making these mistakes?
Well,
And like, there's too
absolutely.
many people who butcher and jump on it, whether it be like, I don't give a damn. I'll say like, there's the people who say things are good things, and then there's people who clout chase for the sake of jumping in on drama. And I cannot stand seeing that because that's just not what the community is meant to be. I cannot support it at any point, where unless somebody's done something absolutely ridiculous or like perfectly bannable, give people a second chance. Like I just it's not right. And like, regardless of what, like if someone's making an attempt, I guess I'm saying it's like, at least give them a shot, and if they screw up again, then reprimand them accordingly.
Well, plus, like, I just think there's a big thing, instead of just being looking to cancel someone, maybe try and correct the behavior and solve it at its core, because that's essentially what happened here. And I think Justin, which is definitely suffers from the whole syndrome of being a 15-year-old male when he said stupid stuff. Like, everyone literally
Sure.
gets there. So it's like, but the difference is like growing up, when I grew up, and here comes Boomer ZX. Real quick, you didn't.
Yes, you embraced it.
You didn't have to have a phone like next to you at all times. So like getting exposed for saying something ridiculous just didn't happen. But the bottom line is, like, people are saying all kinds of crazy things out here, and it just so happens that if you're growing up in now, like, today's day and age, like, you're probably going to write something that gets solidified on the internet at some point.
Yep.
So, instead of jumping the cancel, why not just sympathize a little bit, empathize a little bit, and be like, okay, how about we just decide what might be the better behavior and see if we get that instead? And we did in this case.
Yeah,
So
I agree. Like, not everything has to be also like the whole situation has been beaten to death. I agree with everything you guys have said. Like, people just like circumstances like abiding, obviously, but like, let's not jump the gun to just to kill somebody. Like, that. And like, I'm glad that Justin, he made the proper procedures. He did what he had to do. He's like, listen, like, let's just let bygones be bygones, bygones be bygones. GG's. I won 3. What is it? 3-2, 3-1. He won. I don't remember.
I think it was 2-1. I think it was still best of 3. Yeah,
it was 2-1. Yeah. So GG's. Which is over Puppy 2-1.
Yeah, and I think he was like a stock. I think he had like a stock lead and everything. It was pretty dominant at that point.
Yeah. Game 3 was pretty dominant.
Yeah, I'm just glad they were able to put it like like they can still not. I feel like two people are not allowed to like not like each other, but like it seems like they're like on like pretty good terms like now, and like I'm glad that they were able to like bury the hatchet. We can all move on with our lives.
Like an example I always use for myself, just quick, is like I've made plenty of mistakes. When growing up, I was around family
Hey, you play Ike.
Yeah, no, shut up. But I had. Look, man. Okay, I got near to up air now, but I lost so much in exchange. I lost my footstool combos. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I grew up in a very, very vocal, not your diner friendly family on my dad's side of the family, and that was one thing. But also when I first started driving, I drove like an absolute moron. Like the person who you hated driving 100 miles an hour between every single car, I was that guy. And I learned from my mistakes because of things that I did and things that almost happened to me. And I actively tell people that because I want to, for one, hold myself accountable and learn and never do that again. But two, see if I can maybe help somebody else not make my same mistakes. And luckily I have friends who were constantly on my ass trying to get me to stop doing that, and now I finally stopped. That's I think that's a missing factor when we're constantly putting a lot of these young superstars on a pedestal, but pretending that they're not allowed to make a mistake.
Absolutely.
If there's one thing that if anybody who's listening to this getting into all the more non-game stuff and things, and if you could take a lesson from me on that, just give people a chance when it's something that that someone can grow from. And if you can't, I understand, but just let others try and give them that shot.
Yeah, I mean, you can cancel anybody at any time. It's almost a little too easy, though, isn't it? Might as well try it.
Can't wait to cancel Chris. I'm just waiting
Dude,
for the day.
I can't wait till it comes up. Let's do it.
I've been trying, man. Like I've been trying to
Let's
work
do
out, and I can't be the
it.
buffest person in the room while Chris is there.
Oh, we got to give you the Chris CX workout plan. So,
Yeah, coming soon, like literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
We'll get there.
We're just trying to like form an army of Chad commentators.
Dude, that's
essentially what's going on here.
Pretty much.
Yeah. All right. So before we move on to the next topic, actually, because I pointed this out while I was at my the local, but not everybody watches it. Props to all of us commentators and others who have been working on our weight and getting healthier.
Hell
it is
yeah.
very noticed
and growing beards.
Yeah, and growing beards. We are a beard gang now.
Cody's got a beard now. That's OD.
Yeah, Cody's got the beard now. All of us who have been like putting in that effort, it's very noticeable, and I think it's good, because we are we are on screen for a massive majority of the time. We are always in top 8, regardless of how much we suck. And the fact that people see us all the time. I'm sorry. It's like you said, I play Ike. But the fact that people see us all the time and they see that we're generally improving on our health, even if it's 1 out of every 100 or 1,000 people, whatever it is, somebody might change their lifestyle because of that, and that feels good to know. Well, besides taking care of ourselves,
being part of a healthy community, man. That's something that's good.
Yeah, just don't pay attention to what I ate on Friday, though. So
no, don't look at what I was eating over this weekend. Like, don't pay attention to that part, but pay attention to the fact that my face definitely looked a lot thinner compared to this time last year. So
those nachos are dope, though. No cap.
The Chinese food out there was
yeah. Those nachos were good.
Yeah, but So Big House was cool, and obviously, like the table is almost set for Summit. Also, shout out to Mars for winning the combo contest. But there was but there was one other complaint I wanted to talk about, which is one that a lot of the other top players echoed, is that there's a huge there's so many upsets this weekend, and only one stream for Ultimate. I
forgot to mention that. I completely forgot about that. That was on the tip of my tongue. So we all know this is a primarily a melee event, and I had multiple people from the Ultimate side of things, so I won't name for the sake of expressing other people's opinions, but there were multiple people who said that they were not happy. They felt like they were just being shafted on that. And how do you have that much production for only one stream with that much? I mean, sure, I'm not the one paying the money at the end of the day, but I was very genuinely surprised after how many other events that this year have had 2 streams.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of a standard at this point. I was shocked to find out there was only one stream for Ultimate and Melee, respectively.
You know what? I'm gonna say it, and I'm not even gonna hold back. Production was kind of bad for this tournament. It was just sort of lazy for being an S tier and being a big example of a tournament. Come on. Guys.
Yeah, I wasn't blown away with it either.
Run it more. I want to hear it all. I love my drama.
Yeah, I wasn't blown away by it either, but it just feels like something in this day and age, having 2 streams is kind of a mandatory thing. Mm-hmm. It speaks for volumes for how far we've come, because in the past it'd be crazy if we just had one functional stream with internet.
Facts.
Well, it's just weird that they wouldn't do it anyways. It's basically free money for them, especially a Beyond the Summit where they have 5 channels that just get automatically partnered. Why not just have it? Just get someone to white label it and done.
Yeah, that was it was quite strange to say the least, but hopefully that's a thing that people pay attention to, because obviously Big House has roots being the big it's a big melee rich history tournament, and this weekend was no exception. It was I actually listened to it on my way home from Battle for the East and made it great. it was great to listen to. I haven't watched it yet, but still, it was fun. I just hope that's something that like gets taken into account, like we said. But yeah, I guess we can finally move on to a new segment that I wanted to incorporate into the podcast for this season and going forward. We haven't like officially like dawned in a name yet or not. I was calling it the third parties. Because basically we every podcast we find ourselves going off into tangents anyway about whether it be like other games and other stuff happening, and I figured we can kind of use this on these slower weeks where there isn't much else to talk about. This time in particular though, the big story coming out this weekend, as we can see by the hashtag, is boycott Blizzard.
It's a real hashtag, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It's something. So basically, the skinny of it is a professional Hearthstone player was, I believe, like revoked of his prize money, and
I
like
can give you the whole rundown if you need it.
Do it.
Please go
Do it.
by all means.
Okay, so yeah, I was saying pre the cast, I'm a very big Blizzard head. I love Blizzard games, but this one here, oh boy. So during one of the Grandmaster circuits on the, I believe it was the Taiwanese stream channel, there was a player by the name of Blitzchung, and he won. And prior to this happening, I finally found out why they got rid of, or why they let go the two casters as well. The casters told him beforehand that when you were going to do this, the stream's going to end immediately. And he had the face mask on in protest of the Hong Kong protests right now. It's what they've been using. He decided to put liberate Hong Kong because of everything going on there with the authoritarian leadership. No matter, if you want to get more details on it, I can't provide a whole lot.
Just let's listen to the news, because there's a big like uprising
so
happening.
basically, there's China is basically suppressing a lot of free speech stuff in favor of how they run the country, and what's happening is that's bleeding into media stuff, including a broadcast to where Ajax, as you were saying, the player basically mentioned, let's go protesters, and then Blizzard essentially shut down the stream immediately, cut it out of all kinds of like replays, and stripped him of all of his prize money. And it's a big deal because it's very active and open and blatant censorship of free speech, just because it was in China, essentially.
Yeah, and they stripped him of his prize earnings for the year and gave him a year ban. And here's where I come on this, because like I said, big fan of Blizz, oh boy. So very reminiscent to the kneeling that happened in the NFL, where there was very big bite back, but it was not met with this type of rebuttal.
No way.
Regardless of which way that
No.
you looked at the situation, that's on you to decide. But this was like, a lot of people have been looking at this in a way that Blizz basically said, all right, so we're going to take this and we are going to teach him a lesson. Like, I feel like somebody made them teach him a lesson almost. Like, sure, might be looking a little bit far into it, but taking away prize earnings, a full year ban, and purely for the sake of freedom of speech. It is in the rules that you're not supposed to be doing that, but this is
shitty rule to begin
Well,
with.
here's the rule, though. This is the rule on the screen right now. It says engaging in any act that, in Blizzard's sole discretion, brings you into public dispute public disrepute, offends a portion of group of the public, or otherwise damages Blizzard's image, will result in the removal of Grandmasters and reduction of the player's prize pool to $0 American, in addition to other remedies which may be provided for under the handbook of Blizzard's website terms. So this is pretty general. And the idea is that if it comes across a Blizzard broadcast, we're just like, okay, basically give Chinese citizens rights, essentially, then that comes off as Blizzard's position. So Blizzard says, well, hey, we don't want to lose sponsorship money from China, who probably owns a good portion of Blizzard in some capacity. So we better just basically get rid of all this stuff. And all the memes, of course, ensue from there. This being one of my favorite one because it's the easiest to understand.
Yep.
Basically, yeah, like the guy checking out the other chick.
And you know what's really fun? You know what's really ironic about this whole situation? This whole thing is also happening in the NBA this past week, because
this is
the owner of the
Houston.
Yeah, so basically, I didn't realize this. The NBA is currently in the preseason right now, and for the preseason, they're doing exhibition games against members of the Chinese Basketball Association. So they're playing a bunch of like
Yep.
it's a bunch of just blowout games, but like you get to see teams from China come play. And earlier in the week, I think it was the GM for the Houston Rockets
It
came
was.
out and yeah, God, that was so bad.
Oh my god.
Holy shit. Anyway.
That's a good one. Yeah, so the GM of the Houston Rockets came out and made a couple of tweets about like standing with the people of Hong Kong, and like Chinese businessmen like threatened to like pull out to take legal action on like the Rockets and like the NBA. And yeah, Adam Silver, like if you're not like obviously I'm sure a large demographic of our listeners aren't sports fans, but like basically like the commissioner for the NBA is like the coolest friend. Like he's a real chill boss. He doesn't really like interfere with. He's very like pro for the players, like pro player empowerment, and like all this other stuff. But like he's been forced to kind of be a businessman now, and like they've issued warnings, to the Rockets and stuff like that. And I think earlier today, a couple of protesters were removed from a Sixers game because they brought in signs and like face masks and were protesting. So like, this is a real thing. Like there's a lot of what's the term? Fear mongering.
Goes beyond esports. Definitely fear mongering, because now it seems like there's a big blatant threat. And honestly, when you have like one country's free speech policy bleeding over into like other countries' medias, it is a bit of that's very gray. It's a very, very gray territory.
Yeah, and we have enough of that, attack on our own media that going on. But that's a topic for a different day. I won't get into right now. But there was a couple things that happened with the NBA one there too. And beyond the fact that they had those rebuttals, they are not even going to televise some of the games now while it's in China, because of the fact that the NBA's response pretty much hasn't been a full bend down. Like we're gonna respect our people in like the most you can basically bite me but also respectful way that they could respond, and they weren't happy with that. So again, that's what kind of makes people hark back to the Blizzard thing, where it seems like they only wanted you're gonna make the people who reacted this way feel it. They're gonna understand what we want, and otherwise we're not gonna function with you anymore. And Blizzard has a very big market over there between, I want to say it's TechGen or something like that, is a partial stockholder there. But with Diablo Mobile along the way, and a huge market of the PC gaming industry being in China, that's very much a target for a heavy market loss if you don't bend over to that. But I still can't believe that that's just the way that this all went down. And with BlizzCon right around the corner, there's definitely going to be protests. There's no way they can avoid people asking things or saying things at the Q&A. And in America, when somebody says at the Q&A, drops their question, says liberate Hong Kong to one of those people at the Hearthstone stage, there's gonna be no that's gonna be another test right there.
Real ugly.
Yeah, that's gonna be another test right there. Like, are they going to remove said individual, or are they going to converse with them and explain their situation? Because I think if it's the beginning part, Blizzard is on a stock market plummet.
Well, yeah, this is massive for that. And like China has also like banned other things. Like I think that there's some issues with like South Park. I think they banned either an episode or like the series of South Park.
They banned Winnie the Pooh as well.
Winnie the Pooh, yeah, like it's pretty crazy. Oh, that explains whatever this meme I just saw was of like I guess it's a Chinese like official, basically superimposed over Lucio with like a Winnie the Pooh face. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, people have been primarily using May because she is the I think I just saw it. Go back.
Well,
up,
this wasn't it, but this is something.
Yeah,
this stuff is amazing. I love the way people
there was a
work on the internet.
Oh my god.
God.
It's so good, man.
Of all the things, Winnie the Pooh is harmless.
I have no idea why that was banned. I kind of need to figure that one out. I've been catching up on the story all day today. Oh my god,
dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like
Wow.
God.
Too much, man. You probably can't watch this podcast in China, by the way.
No, we're definitely
we've been banned.
Bye, guys. We made it, guys.
It was a good run.
Yeah, but like I don't know. With the whole BlizzCon thing, like if Blizzard gets out in front of this, then I'm sure they'll find a way to like mitigate the damage. But like this is gonna get it's gonna get ugly.
They need to mitigate fast because they've been preaching that like 2019 has been said by many employees of the studios to YouTube media partners that this, if you're going to go to BlizzCon, this is the year you need to be there because there are big announcements on the way. Probably a new expansion for WoW, probably an announcement for Overwatch 2 or an extension of Overwatch, Diablo 4 after Diablo Mobile's burn crash nonsense from last year, amongst other things. This was going to be a big year for them, and they have people who developed the games leaving, and they had
Did they just lay off a bunch of people too?
Well, there's a lot of internal strife. Like this isn't the first time Blizzard's done something questionable, and the crazy thing is, as far as like impact for anyone watching this or listening to this, is like they're kind of on the forefront of like esports. They're like the one developer who basically kind of blazed the trail for that in terms of like creating a game and also managing their esport teams. Or their leagues rather, because they also just announced their Call of Duty league, Activision, didn't they? Like, didn't that get leaked in all of this? Like the 12 franchise names, which are all terrible, by the way. Yeah, like so they're kind of like dictating a lot of the esport market. So if things happen where there's a lot of censorship and everything like that kind of affects everything.
Yeah,
it's gonna get. I don't know. It's weird, man. Like. There's a whole lot of like neat, like social, like political stuff that's like leaked into esports because like this is a big thing, obviously, and then like we got into the whole like money versus like ad revenue thing for like Smash. Let's do like this shit like because I think Haz was the one that like pointed out the whole like
oh my god.
I think Haz was the one that like pointed out the whole or on Twitter at least he pointed out about like Smashers like getting involved in like the whole political thing when you talk about like raising the price of entry and stuff like that, and it was a weird weekend for Twitter nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think that's why partial mitigation of this will come from the fact that BlizzCon's a month away. And like you said, once, especially in this age of social media, where everybody's got the ability to have a voice, when things like this happen, you hear it and you feel it. But in about 3 weeks from now, how many people are actually going to still be around saying it?
No, you're totally right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but yeah, I figured this is a fun. I mean, it's definitely. Oh yeah, shout out to Haz for that wonderful tweet, by the way, because that's exactly like the can of worms you choose to open when we start talking about this. But I also echo the same sentiments as Ajax. If y'all can spend $30 on KBBQ and like $60 on hentai, you can pay an extra $5 for the tournament. I'm just saying.
Well, I almost think about it even with like the whole summit voting and how much money gets raised for that. Instead of just focusing it on like one invitational thing, why not just have like, I don't know, essentially the quote unquote league that is sort of being developed, even though it's not actually uniform in any way. For Smash Brothers, it's crowdfunded just by people showing up to events.
I mean, I could say the answer, and then I could say what should be the answer.
Yeah,
the answer is profit margin at the end of the day. It's. I mean, there's really nothing else to say about it. Like I don't even speak ill will because there's nothing wrong with looking out for numero uno and trying to get your team together and get things profitable and stuff. Like I'm not hating on anybody for their business models, but at the same time, if you're meant to be like with the fact that we're really an uncoordinated grassroots industry still, and you're trying to be the one to get Nintendo's favor, and you're too busy focusing on yourself rather than providing something, say, like that towards an overall network of events rather than just some invitationals. I'm not even specifically pointing out beyond the summit here. It just they just happen to be the one.
No, this is the formula because this is what everyone's trying to do. We're seeing this on the West Coast too. Like let's be blunt about it. That's what it is.
Yeah,
there's even a tri-state circuit coming on the East Coast, and that's mostly just to keep up with the PGR rankings. Like this is the wave.
Yep.
Ugly.
Yeah, and I know that there will be things going on in Florida from some inklings. I know that there's improvements of things going on in New England, the tri-state circuit, like you pointed out. The really it's the Midwest was kind of just like, hey, just show us some love, but there is no controlling entity. There is not one big bad who says this is what we do. The buck stops here, like I said way earlier for the other event. And I don't know why I said big bad. There's a big villain that's running all the entire Smash community. Uh,
You never know.
hey,
I think it's Bowser.
Somebody with an eye patch petting a cat, turning around slowly in a
Dude,
chair.
what would you do if one day that's what it came out? Like, it just turns out some guy he's like, oh, at last my plan has finally come to fruition. Then he like reveals himself, and it's already too late.
It's the Claw from Inspector Gadget, but it's from the live action Inspector Gadget featuring Matthew Broderick.
That's kind of what I was envisioning, something similar.
there's two opportunities so far on this podcast that I missed where I could have said all that junk inside that trunk, and I missed both of them, and I'm very upset with myself.
Yeah, you'll get about the third time around, but yeah, I feel this is definitely a topic we could probably do a whole podcast, that's a whole topic podcast about going in depth on this stuff. So that's an idea for a rainy day or whenever
we need political experts, man. We need the guys who are grinding out the research. Or I gotta just start grinding out research again.
Please don't let me do that. I am very heavily invested in politics, unfortunately, for my own well-being.
It's all yours. You got it.
Don't let me do this.
I'll let you do it.
I'm gonna blow the ears off of every single microphone.
It's for all of our best. It's for all of our best interests. I'll protect you. I'll be like that guy who's wearing the army suit and he's got all the arrows coming down, and you can just be like the little kid in the bed.
Yeah, we'll keep that in mind for the next time this arises.
Let's bring it all down.
I'm sure it's probably gonna happen again.
Dude, yeah, this is just the beginning, man. This is like, because esports is so young and there is so many moving pieces. Like, it's seeing stuff like this happen in what is otherwise the largest esport business, with like Blizzard and Activision and all that. Like, you better believe you're gonna see it again.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that was this is our season 4 premiere, so I guess this is the part of the
show. This is actually episode 2.
Is it?
Yes.
That's right. You're right.
It's okay though. I was gonna let you rock with it, but
no, I keep forgetting we're a week late because last week was the premiere. Anyway, now that I have gotten my bearings again, some housekeeping stuff to keep track of. So I don't know if I asked. So people are gonna ask about the PR stuff. The next time you guys hear from us will probably be the Power Ranking Reveal show. I subsequently said Friday. I don't know if Friday works for you.
I think we should do Tuesday. Give us all a little bit more time to prepare, or maybe me more time to prepare. Because Platinum Star is on Saturday too, so I don't want to die.
That's true. I mean, if there's anything I can do to help, let me know.
I'll see. I'll start messing with the slides, and if I feel like I'm moving right through them, then we could talk about Friday. But if I feel like it's ground, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we got. I'll get the rest of the data to you later, so we'll work something out. But yeah, regardless, so it'll either be Friday or Tuesday. It'll be coming soon. I know that things are a little bit late, but we're humans with jobs and things to do. So that's God forbid, right? But yeah, everything is finished. I can confirm that Chris sneaked in number 16 on the PR this season. So congratulations, Chris.
I made it. I made it, boys.
Yeah, you're
finally did it.
We let the oldest man ever to be on a Smash PR.
Power lifting his way into the bracket. Chavo?
All right, okay, I forgot Chavo's name.
Wait, he got me beat?
Chavo's 34 or something?
Yo.
33, I think.
What up, old man? I'm just joking. I would never. You're only as old as you feel.
He's the dad that doesn't want to be the dad to anybody, but he's the dad to everyone.
Man, that is so relatable. I don't want these kids, and I got these kids, and I'm like, fuck them kids. This is what's going on.
Yeah, but we'll try to get everything out by Friday. We'll
try. We'll definitely give it. We'll give it a good shot. I'll give it a good shot.
Yeah, we'll help. Me and Chris we already have a lot of the heavy lifting out of the way. So
the last time we did it, we'll probably have it ready Friday. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. But so next we will have a Platinum Star to talk about this week. Yes. Obviously, next week. I will not be in attendance because I got a million fucking things happening this Saturday, and that's okay. Yeah, I got bogged down by normie shit, unfortunately. So
yeah, well, I mean, there's been a lot of travel, so I'm not surprised. Where you have a normal weekend, normal person weekend.
Yeah, I have to go full who's the guy that sang the song about clean out your closet? Was that R. Kelly?
Wait, the Less Trapped in the Closet, and then I think Eminem has a song where he's talking
There
about
we
cleaning
go.
out his closet.
There you go. Well, that's what I got to do this weekend. So, and yeah, and then also Thunder Smash. This is this weekend, so we can talk about how Ben Gold does very well because people don't know how to fit King K.
It's gonna be great.
Thunder
that's gonna be cool.
Smash. Yeah, it'll be good. What's the prize pot on this tournament? I know there's got to be one.
I know it's a lot of money. I think it's like 30. I want to say 30. I don't know if it's 30. I could be
Spicy.
pulling out of my ass.
It's money that is a lot.
Spicy.
Yeah. So if you guys are, if I know people are upset about payouts, but Thunder definitely paying out in spades. So definitely something to watch for this weekend. And as always, we're gonna plug in the essentials. You can follow me on Twitter at Koopa NJ. I'm free from large events at least until events that I have to get on a plane to travel to, at least for the rest of the year. So we're gonna start milking the local side of things. We got Open Source Smash happening in I think 2 weeks, and then we got Tri-State Showdown happening in
I think it's like a month, roughly.
Yeah, November. So
second weekend, I think.
Yeah, I think you are correct in that. So that's gonna be fun, man. That's only a 1 day, so if y'all wanna, if people are coming through and you wanna like go to the city on like Sunday, like let's make that shit happen. Come on, man.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Right at the comfy Helix, made for big events.
Absolutely. So I'm
our very own Thunder Gaming facility.
Yeah, it's nice. They got beer.
They do. Ooh. They got lots of computers and ballrooms
and beer.
Stuff. And beer.
Did I mention they have beer?
Beer.
I can already hear Hazmat loading up his classic WoW account right now. With that beer right next to it.
Oh shit, that's actually perfect. Yo, it's his match made in heaven. AJ, you got anything going on? Plug your stuff.
The usual. Check out Synthesis Weeklies every single Monday on Great Value Smash stream over at Nomads in Connecticut, South Windsor. Yeah,
shout out to this week's Synthesis, where I believe, and I quote, people were fucking in the parking lot.
That's hype.
At least that's what I saw from Flipboard's Twitter. He was like, "Yeah, people are having sex in the parking lot."
I wish I could lie to you, but I can't. So yeah. If you like some some high octane, spicy, steamy competition, come on out to Synthesis every single Monday.
Or fucking in your car.
Wait, hold up. Wait, there's no Frank in the car this week.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it looks like the raccoon finally got him.
No. I think he might have been at Nomads.
Oh, true. You're right. Oh, fuck. This got weird. Chris, what about you?
Wait, hold on. I wasn't done.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So there's that, and then I don't believe there's any spots left, but make sure to tune in this weekend to the New England Arcadian. That will be going on over at Balance Patch, hosted by our Temper, everybody's favorite Temper, our good old guy over in New England, and also for a very special announcement that will be happening at the end of it. For things
I know what it is,
but both of you should know what it is. And if you're in the New England area, you'll be excited, and for the promise of the future, you'll be very excited. So make sure to check that out, and follow me at the fat man face on the picture there. That's still there. Not that one. That one's beautiful.
I promise it'll be updated by the time you're on here next, even if that's like next week.
Gotcha. I can't wait to complain about the picture you picked because I forgot to send you one.
I'm playing it safe. I'm using your Twitter profile pic. End of story. Done.
No, not that one. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, wait, what?
No. It'd be good. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Not too much else going on. Just the normal stuff in the future.
Nice. So yeah. So you can follow me at CSantoZX. I talk about things Mostly a lot of retweets. My retweets are pretty solid, though, just saying. If you want to stay informed with all the New Jersey stuff, make sure you follow the Twitter of this podcast, and that's at Master Hand Games, where you could literally keep up with everything in this area as far as what events are going on, what the results are like, what players are saying, where players are going, some clips, all that kind of stuff. The account's been moving in a pretty good direction. Pretty happy with it. So now is just as good a time as any to check that out. And then if you're enjoying this podcast, make sure to follow all of the appropriate channels. You could follow our YouTube channel, linked. I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, good job, you already found it. And otherwise, it's linked to all the descriptions and stuff. Make sure you drop a like if you do, in fact, like this stuff, and share it with your buddies. And you know what? I want to start memeing with smash that like button. So smash that like button. Smash it good.
And we've received some feedback from a wise source, and we are going to start getting the podcast on some other accessible platforms that aren't just SoundCloud and YouTube.
Spotify's my current endeavor.
Nice.
I just got to change my personal account to that account instead.
You better have some dank playlist. Do you have what's your favorite? What's your Spotify playlist of choice?
You know my playlist is good. I've been playing it all on the streams recently. It's been pretty fun.
All right. Before you leave, I want to play the. There's this tweet thread that came out where you take your top 4 songs are frequently played and what it says about you.
Oh.
So like I think mine were My Chemical Romance, No Doubt, and like 2 other punk bands. So that speaks.
You could look that up. You could look up your most listened to on like Spotify.
Like you're recent. What's you recently played or something like that.
Recently played.
Or like it's something of the equivalent where like it plays like your most like played songs or something like that, or like songs that you tend to like favor.
Damn, dude, I'm looking.
Basically, for what I've learned about myself is that I'm an angsty punk kid that hates his hometown. That's all I got.
Dude, I got like Gaber music. It's over for me. And then like a normie band and another like old friend who has really cool music.
Dope.
In fact, the album is called Old Friends. So how about that? But anyways, we digress. Thanks for watching, for listening, and all that kind of stuff. And we will definitely catch you guys, I guess, next episode for what will probably be the PR reveal for season 3.
Yes, that is. We'll see you guys then.
Adeuces.